Good evening, sir.
Evening.
Hello, Sunil uncle.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
I'm fine, uncle.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, this is actually my first class which I joined.
Hmm.
sir. Sir, this is even my first class.
Because everyone I'm
Evening, sir.
Hi.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Mute ಮಾಡಲಾ?
ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನಾವು ರಿಯಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೋಡಿನೇ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
Hi, good evening, everybody. We're going to start in another 3-4 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Santosh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Nitish.
Yeah, okay. Malkhede sir is having some network issues. Okay.
Okay. Shall we wait another 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, actually he is supposed to join. Okay.
Okay.
And I just spoke to Malkhede sir.
Okay.
He said he has a network issue. He'll be taking 2 more minutes. Let him join and we'll start the session. Okay.
Sure, Nitish. Thank you.
Meanwhile, I think we're getting more participants also. Okay.
Right.
So
We'll
we
wait.
are now. Yeah, last for 3 minutes we have jumped from double the participant number actually.
Yeah.
So
True.
let's wait for 5 more minutes, and then
Sure.
we'll get more
Please.
participation. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean George is there, and I am seeing Sunil is there. Right.
Yeah, Sunil is already there on my. He's raising his hands.
No, okay, I can't see him. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, George. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Very nice of you that you're taking the new entrants also, sir. Otherwise, like the other webinar and all, they say that registration is closed. I just registered it today, sir.
Surely.
I
No,
missed
it's,
the previous webinar, sir.
no. We are trying to improve the. Want more participants to be there here. Otherwise, conducting webinar will be
Thank you very much,
meaningless.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Please. We can circulate among other groups also.
Sure, sir. Yes, I've already done, sir. I've circulated for more than 12 of my colleagues.
Sure. So let them. Okay.
I think they must have joined, sir.
Sir has
Sure.
joined.
Sir has joined.
Yeah.
Sir. Malkhede sir joined. Hello. Sir. Good evening, sir. Sir. Can you hear me, sir? Malkhede sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
We're waiting for your speech, sir.
Yeah, okay. So should I start now?
Let's start.
Sir, I will introduce.
I will introduce, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, something echo is going on.
I don't know.
Sir, please mute
Please
your
mute your own button.
Yeah. Hello. That's better, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Today we are having the 4th webinar of the series of 9 webinars that Karnataka Forest Department is conducting in run-up to the Wildlife Week celebration this year. So this webinar, actually, we all know that there are millions of species.
Can't hear anything.
Hello, can you hear me? Somebody speaking in between. Please request all the participants to mute yourself. Otherwise, it will be disturbing to the speakers. George, want to say something? Hello. There is some disturbance actually.
No internet. Internet ilva.
George, can you meet all the other participants, please? Janardhan, KR, please mute yourself.
I am in first class.
George, I can't hear you, but I'm hearing some other voices.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead now.
Yeah. But I am a lot of disturbance. ತುಂಬಾ disturbance ಇದೆ. Admin should please.
Then
So many voices coming in. Kindly please mute yourself because there is some problem with muting from the admin side. Kindly request all the people to mute yourself. Okay. Tarini, good. Hello. Can you hear me now? Just anybody, one can say.
It is better.
yes.
Yeah. Good evening once again. Actually, so let's because this webinar will be for 1 hour and started. It was supposed to start at 4:30. We are delayed by 10 minutes, and we'll be ending maybe at 5:45 or so, something like that. So keep this session webinar will be very focused one, as we know that there are millions of species in the earth, and many of them, have invisible also. And the species, all the species that are existing on this earth have some role to play and ecological role basically. And today we are having a very interesting topic on the role of ant in the ecosystem and ecology. And today session will be of 1 hour, and we have one guest speaker, Mr. Sunil, and the keynote address will be delivered by our additional PCC of wildlife, Shri Malkhede sir. So I welcome Shri Malkhede sir for the keynote address, and the guest speaker of the day, Sunil, and all the participants to this webinar, and all the media supporters and our CE partners. I welcome once again, and I request Malkhede sir to go ahead with the keynote address. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Nadesh. And good afternoon, everyone. All those who have joined for this webinar. On behalf of Karnataka Forest Department, I thank all of you for having joined webinars that we are taking. Today's topic in this series is ants. Now, there is no one, I think, amongst us who has not seen an ant or not got bitten by an ant any time in life. So, right from childhood, ants have always been fascinating us, especially whenever there is any sweet trail left anywhere, you get a new trail that is ants trail. And
Sir Malkhede, sir, you are muted, sir. Please unmute, sir.
Ants have been there on this earth much before human beings came, and they are there, and therefore they have evolved into a very highly evolved species, I would say. And there are around 12,000 species of ants all over the world. We may see very few ants in our neighborhood, but there are more than 600 species in India alone. And they have learned how to coexist with human beings. That's why we can see them all around us, whether it is in home, in our backyard, in our gardens, and we get plenty different species in our forests too. The species has given humans kind of lessons all through. They are very small, tiny creatures. However, in united way, that is, together they show how a strength can be built. So their motto is strength in unity. That's why they can take on any species, any larger species also. And they are always busy, as you can see. If you find one sugar grain anywhere, all of a sudden you will have a large number of ants coming there within half an hour or 45 minutes. Moreover, ants have been good architects all through. Their homes that they construct are really marvel for modern day architects also. And they make various kinds of chambers in their houses based on the work that each ant is carrying out and their size, age. Based on that, they make different chambers. The way we have our rooms, different room for kids, different for adults, different for old people. Similarly, they also make certain kinds of modification in their structures of the rooms that they construct and build. Today, we have with us Shri Sunil Kumar, who holds master's degree in environmental science from Bangalore University, and his fascination for ants started at University Center for Ecological Sciences in Indian Institute of Science, and he has walked with ants several times, and he has conducted many sessions for people, naturalists, to understand ants. And he must have done more than 100 such walkathons and conducted many more trainings and workshops to understand ants, their behavior, social structure, and mainly role of ants in conservation. I think in conservation, all the species in this world are conservation oriented, except I think for human being, who is more non-conservation oriented species of this in the whole ecosystem. And we will also learn the fascinating aspects about ants and their behavior and their propagation and the way they construct their houses, etc. And Shri Sunil Kumar has also written a book on a trail with ants, and that's a wonderful book which I think all of us should have a copy of it, which gives us a narration about ants that are especially found in Karnataka, and with pictures and everything. I think he will be also taking all your questions. So I think I will excuse myself and allow Shri Sunil Kumar M to take up his lecture on ants and their fascinating world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the keynote address. Actually, you have made my job easy by introducing the guest speaker of the day also. Mr. Sunil, as sir has already briefed, is an expert in the ant studies, basically myrmecology, the field is called, and very few people who actually worked on this field. And one of such work is published in the book, and it's very interesting for the young lads who are actually, I am happy to see that the younger generation, the kids are in a good number in this today's webinar, and they'll definitely be benefiting from the today's webinar session. I request now Shri Sunil to take over the session, and I will just before that I will say that at the end of this presentation we'll have a quizzing also, and there will be two types of quizzing. One is online quizzing, and there will be offline link also will be provided later on. They can participate in the offline quiz as well. And right now the quiz will also the best will be given some format will be there, and will get award the participants. Even for the participation, you will get a certificate. That's the format of it. And request all the participants to keep your questions to the end. One. Secondly, whenever you have a questions in coming in, put it in the chat box instead of trying to intervene the speaker, so that the flow will be better. So now I request Sunil to take over. I excuse myself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Firstly, I should thank the Forest Department, the Karnataka Forest Department, and Center for Environment Education, actually, for inviting me to this session on ants. And I'm grateful to Mr. Subhash Malkhede, Mr. Natesh, and also Santosh for actually asking me to host this session, but also for the kind of words of introductions that they've done for us. So, ants, as you know, I mean the most commonest of the wildlife that we can see. I mean, we many of us might not have seen a tiger or a lion or a leopard, for example, but the most commonest one wildlife that we all would have seen are the ants. So this session, since there is a mixture of audience, I'll try to keep it as simple as possible so that all of us understand, appreciate, and are in awe of the interesting facets of ants itself. So, firstly, I'll start off with a small presentation, and please feel free to either stop me or ask any questions. So, I'll start off with my session. So, can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So quickly, I mean, since this is the most commonest species that you have seen, uh, I'm sure you would know what an ant is. So I don't need to describe what an ant is, right? But nevertheless, I'll tell you how to. If you see an ant, how do you identify an ant? So that's something which I will. 1 minute, please. Okay. So, how do you identify an ant? Any idea?
Color.
Yeah.
Sir,
How do you
sir,
identify?
you can identify the ant by its color.
Okay.
By its size.
Okay.
Sir, your ant usually
Through his behavior.
Okay. Behavior. That's nice.
sir, ants
Okay.
usually walk in a row. It's like they go in a group and they're not alone.
Okay. That's also interesting. So I'll tell you. I mean, if you see an ant, sometimes there are also spiders and other bugs which mimic ants. So you might generally you might know. I mean, what an ant is, but when there are ant mimicking spiders among them, then that's when the trouble comes in. How do you identify an ant? So I'll take you to the basics. Okay. What does an ant have? Ant will have an head, so right? All of you would agree. It will have feelers or antennae, right? Then there's the body of an ant. Then there's the abdomen. And how many pairs of legs would an ant have?
Sir,
Six.
three.
Three pairs.
Sir, six. Three pairs.
Sir, they have six.
Of legs.
So three
Yeah,
pairs,
six.
sir.
Three pairs.
Yes,
3 pairs, totally 6 legs.
yes, three pairs, right? So whenever you pick up an ant, just look for how many number of legs. You see that you have three pairs of legs. Then when you look at the feeler or the antennae will be bent. It will be like an elbow. So it will not be straight. If you've seen a cockroach antennae will be straight. If you look at a butterfly antennae, the antennae will be straight bulb at the ends. But whereas for an ant, it will be a bent antennae with the segment. Okay. And the most important part of an ant, how do you distinguish, is between this thorax region and the abdomen, there are these connecting joints. So if you don't see the connecting joints, then it will be very difficult to identify whether it's an ant or not. So always look for this.
Sorry to intervene. Sorry to intervene.
Yeah.
Others, please mute yourself. Otherwise, there will be disturbance in the voice. So when the guest speak, when if you want to ask question, unmute and then again mute back. Okay, please.
Yes, sir.
Some of them are actually now the speakers, the mic is on. Please switch off your mics.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, so the most important part, the feature of an ant is this waist or the part which is called as the petiole. So there are two node-like things between the abdomen and as well as the thorax. So what the bent antennae, the petiole, then three pairs of legs. If you see this, I'm sure it will be an ant. Okay. And of course, some of you pointed out the behavior aspect. The behavior aspect, what I want to point is no ant lives alone. So ants are social insects, so they always live in groups. So they're always part of a family. So you won't see an ant alone. If you see an ant alone, it must be part of some nest. And if you, for example, is away from the nest for various reasons and then can't get back into the nest, it will die. Okay, so what I'm saying is social insects, they work like groups and they also divide their work. Okay. So where are ants found? So as you all mentioned, they're present everywhere, right from within your homes, parks. If you went on the footpath, you will see lots of ants. If you're in an agricultural field, you'll find ants. If it's forest, you'll find ants. But there are a couple of places where you will not find any ants. So those are where places which are permanently ice capped. So suppose you went to the North Pole, which is always under ice, you'll not see ants unless ice layers starts melting. Okay. The other place would be very high altitude areas. If you went to the Mount Everest searching for an ant, you will not get it. Or if you went to the oceans or permanently filled water, so you'll not find ants. But otherwise, ants are one of those very successful creatures found across the globe. And worldwide, there are more than 14,000 species, but scientists estimate there could be close to about 22,000 species. And in India alone, there are 846 species that have been documented. And if you went finding ants in Bangalore, you'll find at least more than 100 species. So imagine 100 species of ants when most of us, if I asked you, how many ants do you know? You'll say, sir, I know a red ant, black ant, the big ant, the small ant. So beyond that, if I ask for ants, you'll say, sir, sorry. But if you went around carefully observing, you will find more than 100 species. So this is some of the work that I've done as well, where I've through my research, I found about 77 species of ants in Bangalore alone. Okay, and some of the highest species of ants, where will you find in Bangalore? If you the two or three places that you find a lot of ants are obviously one is if you went to Lal Bagh, Cubbon Park, or if you went to the GKVK campus. These are three areas where you will get a lot of ants. I mean, more than 50 to 60 species of ants as a minimum that you will get. Okay, but why do we not see so many species? Because we don't observe them carefully. So my message is, ants are everywhere, but we don't observe them carefully to distinguish them. Because for us, ants are ants. Oh, they're very small. Sir, what can they do? I mean, but if I showed you a tiger or a lion, you'll jump with joy and then say, oh, tiger. But an ant, because of its small size, you'd say, oh, okay, trivialize it, right? So you will next, I mean, one of the questions that people ask is, okay, why should I watch ants? What is it that ants, yeah.
Sir, I had a doubt, sir. Could you please repeat where and all they're not found?
What I said was permanently ice-capped region. Suppose it's permanent ice or permafrost, or if you went to the North Pole or the South Pole, or if you went to on top of the Mount Everest, for example, wherever there's permanent ice throughout the year, okay, you'll not find ants. If you find, if there is a patch of land completely filled with water throughout the year, you might not find ants. For example, oceans, sea, you will not find ants. Whereas you will find ants in mangroves, because there are also vegetation, and ants can make their nest on mangrove trees. Okay, so
Sir, can you repeat the identifications again?
Sir,
okay.
Repeat
So
the
I told you
identification.
there are three things I told you. One is the bent shaped antennae. If you can see the cursor, this is the antennae of the feeler. It is bent in shape. Okay. Then between this part, that is the thorax, if you know, and the abdomen, there is this joint, so which is called as the petiole. So because there are ant mimic spiders, there are some bugs which look like ants. Sometimes we think they are also ants, but if you look at them carefully under a ant lens, or if you have if you have a lens in your room, you can always pick up an ant and look at it carefully. Or if you want to, if you are, if, provided if you go back to school in a few months' time, then you can collect a few ants and then look at them under the microscope in your school. Then you'll find that there is some joint hinge like thing here. Okay, okay, these things, and then of course 3 pairs of legs. So these are the distinguished characters. Of course, as I said, the ants don't live alone. They're always group living, social insects. That's why they're called social. Social means to live in groups. Okay.
Sir,
And yeah.
which
Sir.
is the third part where ants are not found?
Can I take this questions last? Huh? Is that okay?
Sure, sir.
Sir,
Or you can
actually
type it
there
up.
are 12,000 species of ants, right, sir?
Sorry, you can type the questions and I'll answer all that later. So I'll first finish this. Okay. I hope you don't mind.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. And why are ants important? If you are, we always talk about all organisms playing a very critical role in ecology. So ants are equally very, very important. Ants are predators. The most commonest thing that in your home you'll see, when if there is a dead cockroach, or if in your garden is something dead, the first thing to rush towards it are the ants. Ants will come there. They will bite it into pieces, take back those pieces of meat back to the nest. Okay, so what are they doing in their room? It's a role of a scavenger. And they also hunt other organisms as well. So, for example, termites, earthworms, um, and very ants like the army ants can actually do much more things. I mean, they can also bring down a frog, or sometimes even a small chicken. I mean, they can always, or a bird. They can actually go and attack and then kill them. So they are that way predators, and they also are a prey, because you will also have seen that spiders can eat up ants. There could be lizards eating up ants. So what that means is they're an important link in the food web. So if you went to a forest ecosystem, if you went to a forest, and then the most invisible organisms which are doing a lot of work are there are two organisms. One is of course ants, the others are termites. So if you took up all the ants and then weighed them, and put all the invertebrates and took their weight as well, vertebrates, you'll see that 15 to 25% of the weight of the ants, I mean, if there is 100 kg of vertebrates, 25 kgs will be massed by the ants. Okay, so almost like 25% of the biomass will be ants. So which
Repeat
means,
the point again.
so what I'm saying is, if you took all the organisms in a terrestrial ecosystem, if you went to a forest, collected all the organisms, and then all the animals, then 25% of the weight will be only ants. Okay, so what I'm saying is if there's 100 kg of organisms there, 25 kgs will be ants, which means to say 1/4 of the organisms in terms of weight are ants, which is uh, very interesting because this means to say they are an important role in the food chain and the food web. Okay, and then we also, if you're looking at in terms of earthworm, we always call earthworms as the farmer's friend, but ants actually uh, um, uh, excavate more soil than earthworms do. So, which means to say they are doing a lot of aeration of the soil. They're bringing back nutrition from below the ground up to the top. So they're churning the soil, which is very important, critical in a forest ecosystem. Okay. Beyond that, there are many other things that they do. They also, some of the ants are known to pollinate as well. Okay. So they're a very important critical link in the ecosystem. I mean, that's what I'm trying to point out. So next. There's a bit of a glitch here. I'm trying to move the slide.
Does an ant eat its prey?
Okay. Sorry. I'll. Can I move on? You can put the question into the chat. Okay. So, as I told you, ants are social insects like bees and wasps. They live in communities. They live in a nest. I'm sure most of you would have seen a nest entrance in your homes or in a garden. You would have seen an ant nest. And the very interesting thing about an ant nest is that most of the ants that you see are females. Okay, so if there are 100 ants in a nest, close to about 95 of them will be females. And within an ant's nest, you'll see that based on tasks, they're divided. They divide themselves into different tasks. Okay, so some ants perform the role of workers. Some ants perform the role of soldiers. Some can be nurses so that they can take care of the young ones. Within again these workers, there are some which can act as cleaners, where they clean the nest, and mm, and the important person in the important individual in the nest is obviously the queen. So the queen is large in size, and what she does is her role is to lay eggs. So throughout her lifetime, she's only laying eggs. Okay, and she is as the name says, queen. She actually rules the nest. Her role is to actually control all the members, direct the duties, and males are very seen very occasionally in the nest. Okay. And as you see in the picture, you will see that the queen ant here has a very large abdomen, and because that's because her job is to lay eggs. She stores all the eggs in her abdomen, which she lays. Yeah. And here you'll see a nurse, an ant which has taken the role of a nurse, which is actually maybe helping the uh, young ones. So our job will be to actually not only feed the young ones, but also to clean them up, to actually carry them to safe places. So you can see the um, larvae here, which I'm pointing out, and then the ant here. And you can see that the node, which I mentioned here very clearly, there's a node here, the connecting joint between these two parts. Okay, and then you can count the number of legs, and of course you can see clearly the bent antennae that I was referring to. Right, it's bent in shape like your elbow. And this is the close-up of an ant queen. So ant queen, you can just wanted to also observe the colors. I mean, apart from what we think normally an ant is red in color or black in color, you can also see there's a golden tinge to this ant, right? Okay. And then there's
Sir, on doubt.
and And then there is a screen here, which I've told you, a large abdomen, it has laid its eggs. Okay. So a queen, and I just want you to look at the colors, appreciate the colors. So it's not only black ants, red ants. You'll see that now there is also greenish tinge here, the orange color here. So just to show you the diversity in colors among ants. And whenever you see an ant, as Sir said previously when he was introducing the subject as well, they said ants go in trails. So how do they go in trails? Basically, ants are good in chemical signaling. So they're, of course, called as the masters in chemical communications. Like we communicate using voice and touch. I'm talking to you. That's one form of communication. But ants use a lot of chemicals. Lay trails which are for different purposes. When they spot a piece of food, the scout ant or the ant which has spotted it, what it does, it from the source of the food to the nest, it actually lays a trail of scent from its abdomen, and then it will go back to the nest and then invite other ants and say, okay, I've laid a trail now. Please, can you join this trail? I will take you to the source of food. And then the ants which are following will actually, as they follow the trail, will also add more of the scent. So as more ants follow the trail, the scent becomes more and more stronger. Okay, that's one form of communication. That's recruiting ants to the food source. But they also navigate using polarized light, diffuse light in the atmosphere or the cloud. Then they can also sometimes, some of the ants can also look at landmarks and find out where they are, apart from looking at the sky. Okay, so for a small ant, such a tiny ant with such a tiny brain, I mean, to perform such complicated tasks, I think it's quite amazing. And I just wanted to show some pictures of nests as well. So this is one of those common nests that you will see everywhere, the nest of an ant with just an entrance. But there are some very interesting ants which build different kinds of nests as well. For example, some of the ants actually decorate their nest entrance with twigs and then also feathers. So you can see a feather of a bird here. If you are looking at this very carefully, there's a greenish feather here. So these ants are called as diakama. What these ants do is they bring in they collect feathers from the feathers in the forest.
What's the name of the ants again?
Diakama. You can just say Indian hunter ant. Okay, and what they do is very interestingly, every morning or whenever they need water, they actually collect the dew which is fallen on the feather. So purposefully they build and they'll bring in feathers and then decorate the nest entrance, and then it's a ready source of water. So just like now how we all harvest water on our rooftop, we all do rainwater harvesting, right? So ants are also known to do some such things. Okay, and this is another ant called as spidol. I'll not talk to you. I'll not mention but commonly known as the fort ant. So if you look at the ant's nest entrance, the nest entrance is here, but it builds a mud round of compound wall of, I would say, mud, which resembles a fort. And if you're going to forest areas in Dandeli, or if you're gone to Maharashtra, some places, especially in the Western Ghats, these ants are very common ants called as fort ants. Okay. So what I'm trying to, by showing the nest, I want you to also appreciate the beauty of the nest building and then how they're trying to do it. So, okay. So that's one. There are leaf nests. Some ants build nests out of leaf. If you have a mango tree or a pongemia tree in your home, if you have a garden, you will see these ants are very common. In Kannada, it's called as kenjiga. So these are called as Indian weaver ants. So what they do is they actually make nests out of leaves. So they pull the leaves together, make it into a ball. And what they do, interestingly, if you're observing the ants here, is they're carrying something white in their beak. I'm sorry, in their mandibles or the teeth. Okay. So what they're doing is they're carrying their young one, and what they do is they coax or they press the young ones to release silk. So the silk is used to paste the leaves together. Okay, so the leaves get stuck, and then and the ants make it into a ball, and then within the ball is where the queen and the family or the daughters in this case live, because the ant nest is comprises of the queen and the daughters, because all the workers and the soldiers, the major minor workers are all our daughters. So the story of an ant is all about the queen and her daughters. Okay, and there's another interesting ant here. This is called as these ants actually make paper nests. So what it does is these ants called as acrobat ants. They actually chew the bark of the tree and then mix it with the saliva and then start pasting it. So they make it into a huge ball. So you can see there's this huge ball here, and then within this huge ball there's a nest entrance, and sometimes rufous woodpeckers are known to actually make their nest inside the nest of the ant. Okay, so these are the acrobat ants. This is again a very common ant in parks as well as in forests. So there are ants which are blind as well. So not all ants have eyes. As you know, they all have compound eyes.
Sir,
And there are some ants.
sir,
Can
can
you?
you explain the last slide again?
Okay. So these are ants, acrobat ants, which may actually make nests out of bark of the tree. So what the ant does is actually one minute. What the ant does is actually chews the bark of the tree, then spits it along with the saliva, and then molds it into a large ball. Okay, just like a baseball, which is nothing but made out of paper, because it's now bark. The wood is actually chewed and then mixed with saliva and pasted into a baseball kind of thing. And then within the nest, you can sometimes have woodpeckers nesting there. Okay. So what I'm saying is there is also association between other organisms as well. And there are, as I said, not all ants are wise.
Sir, can you tell about the
Not
saliva
all
thing
ants
that
are,
it
yeah.
does? Can you do the saliva? Can
It
you
mixes
tell?
it. Yeah.
Can you tell about the saliva again?
I
That
can't hear
thing
you.
they do. Sir, can you
So
do
what
the
it does is
thing
it will
that
chew.
Then what do they do to it?
They'll mix the bark, they'll chew the bark with the saliva, mix it, make it into a paste. So you start pasting it into a ball. Okay, ball shape. Okay. And
So can all ants fit in it?
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because in the picture it looks too small.
No, it's a very big one.
Huh?
It's a big one. It will be more than a large baseball. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And as I said, there are also ants which are blind. So these ants actually are. Yeah. Can we take questions later, please? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, so these blind ants, I mean, they can hunt as well as navigate. They all do without a visual eyesight, I mean, visual sight. So it is only through touch as well as with smell. So the antennae have chemical sensors which are used to smell, and they can actually travel great distance just by scent alone. Okay. Then as I told you, these are the acrobat ants which make a baseball-shaped nest. Okay. If you look at it, why they're called acrobat ants are because if they're alarmed, if you disturb the ants, they'll raise this abdomen onto the top and bend them forward. When many of them do that, it's like a gymnastic play. Okay. And there are other very common ants. All the ants that I'm talking about are all very common ants that you can see in parks. So this is called as the procession ant. The procession ant can go in very long processions. And the interesting thing about this ant
The
is
spelling
they
of
like to eat termites.
what is the spelling of possession and
Procession is here on the top of the slide. Can you see? Procession, to go
yes
in a
sir.
procession in a line. Yeah, okay. And then they go in a line, but these ants are fond of termites. And they don't have permanent nests. So, for example, every 3 weeks they start shifting their nest from one area to another. They kill all the termites there, then they move on to another nest. So they build very temporary nests. Okay. So there are a few ants, I mean, which have mastered how to jump. So these are called as jumping ants. So these
Okay.
are ants like your grasshoppers. They can jump as well. So one of the very common ant, which is now become very, very rare in Bangalore, is called as the Arpagnathus, which is listed. The scientific name is here. Okay, this is the Indian jumping ant, and they can also catch butterflies or any other prey when in midair. So they are known to do that. Okay, so you will see that their mandibles or the teeth are very long, scissors-like. Here, they have very large eyes, and they're very sharp. And in the nest, there are only about close to about 400 individuals only. Okay? Very small sized um, nest. There are also ants which also harvest. So some of these ant species are known to harvest grasses. For example, just like farmers harvest um, um, just like farmers, I mean, they
Yes
harvest
friend.
rather than, yeah. So ants are known to harvest grass seeds and then store them in their nest. Okay. Then there's also an ant named after Bangalore. So this ant was found in, this was a new ant for science, which was found in Bangalore, which is called, named after Bangalore, called as Dilobocondyla bangalorica. You can see the spelling there. It was found on one of those plumeria trees in Kaban Park. So what I'm trying to say is there are still many, many newer species to be discovered. The only bit is we have to be very observant, look at what is around us much more carefully. Yeah? And this is
Sir,
the most,
what is the before the Bengaluru ants?
what?
What is before the Bengaluru ants?
It is called the Bangalore ant. It is called as Dilobocondyla bangalorica.
No.
Yeah.
The before one.
This is monomodium. These are the harvested.
Harvest.
Yeah, which will harvest, just like you harvest, farmers harvest grains, no? These ants, what they do in, if you've been in, gone to Kavan Park or Lalbagh or any BBMP park, you'll see nest entrances with grass seeds. Okay, what these ants do
Yes
is
sir.
collect all the grass seeds and then they will take it into the nest, and whenever they want, they will break open the grass seeds and then eat up the fatty substance inside and throw out the husk. Okay.
Okay sir.
So this is the Bangalore ant, and this is the very most common ant all of you would have seen. These are your black ants that you see in your houses. Because of it's been zoomed, it will look like that, but it's called as a black crazy ant. Why is it called black crazy ant? Is because they move in a very crazy fashion. You will see that they don't usually move in a straight line, but they're all over the place. So it's called as a black crazy ant. And you have this the red ants which bite. If you stepped on it, you'll know why it's called as fire ants. If more than 10 or 20 ants bite, you feel like that your body is all on fire. So these are the red ants in your home that bite, okay, which is called as the fire ants. There are also ants which also make slaves. So what these ants are, what they do is they go and raid ants, workers of other nests. They bring back all the workers and then make them work for the colony. So it's like keeping servants. Okay. So these ants don't work, but here you'll see that they're bringing the young one of another ant. When this young one comes out, this ant will actually work for the colony of this ant. And this is another. I'm just going on a couple of slides and then we can take questions, okay? Please hold on. So the last couple of slides. So this is one of the second fastest moving appendages animal kingdom. The
Sir, can you go slowly?
Okay.
Can you go a little slow?
Okay. Last two slides and I'm done. Okay. So you see this mandibles here, the teeth, the closing of this teeth when it finds a prey here. For example, if it's moving in the forest and it finds a prey, the speed at which it closes, okay, can be up to close to 126 to 230 kilometers per hour. That means to say, less than 1/30th of a second, it would have closed. Okay, this is known to be the second fastest closing mechanism. The first closing mechanism is also held by an ant. Okay, and this ant, why I've put this second fastest is because this ant is found in our forest. For example, if you went to Coorg or if you went to Dandeli, you'll see this ant, or in parts of Kerala, you'll see this ant. So it's a common ant. It's called the crack jaw ant. Okay. So I'll go to the last bit. So what are the things that we can learn from ants? One is, as Sir said in the beginning.
Can you show the previous slide?
Sure. So what are the things that we can learn from ants? As Sir said in the beginning, the one is, as he said, the teamwork is something that you'll see in ants. That's very impressive. You'll always see that they're helping each other. They're always usually disciplined. So they unlike most of us, even if you have witnessed Bangalore traffic, where it's the most undisciplined. At ants, if you see ants are in a procession, they go in a trail. They're very disciplined. They make way for others. Even if there's an obstacle, they make sure that they go around the obstacle, find another easy route, but they always stick to the lane. Okay. Then ant vision is something people are researching. How does such a small organism actually see the vision, and is there some technologies that we can derive? Traffic management, I said. Then there are also ants clean their body using their own antibiotics. So there are researches happening on ant-based antibiotics to actually see if we can to be used for medical applications. And then, of course, the last bit is formalin. As you all know, formalin is a chemical that is extracted from ants, which are used to sterilize surfaces. Now these days we use alcohol, but earlier formalin were all used in hospitals, operation theaters to actually sterilize the substances. Okay, so I just I just wanted to summarize saying that there's so much of interesting things about small creatures that around us, and not all the time we should be looking only at lions, tigers, and elephants, but these very small, interesting creatures which do a lot for conservation have a very important role in the ecology. I think we should also look at them. We should also learn a lot from them. So with this, I will end this talk, but I will take up some of the questions. Okay.
So.
Okay, 1 minute. So I'll all the questions that were on chat I'll take first, and then and later I will go to your.
So
Yeah.
sir, can I do the fire ants slide?
Sorry. You put all your ants into your all the questions into the chat, and then I'll take it up. Okay, because otherwise it will cause a lot of disturbance. Okay, I'll put some of those questions here and then start answering them. Are ghost ant species situated in India? So there are ghost-footed ants which are common in Bangalore, everywhere. It's called as technomyrmex. Okay, so they are in India. So the other question is it true that the weight of ants is more than the weight of all human beings on Earth? Definitely yes. If all the ants are put together, because if there are 6.2 billion people on Earth, you'll have to multiply that into 10 lakhs. That, that's when you know the true number of ants across Earth. That's true. Ants actually weigh more than the weight of all human beings on Earth. Do ants have two stomachs? It's actually an interesting question because uh, they actually have the split in a stomach. So the first part of the stomach, what they do is they actually store temporarily some food. They go back to the nest, regurgitate or vomit, uh, bring it out of the first part of the stomach, and actually feed the young one. Okay. So the next question is
Again?
yeah, because they have to feed the young one, right? Because they would have sometimes the young ones might not have well developed teeth, right, or the mandibles. So what these ants do is they will chew it, make it into paste, then they'll bring it out of the stomach and then feed the young ones. So
So
is
what are baby ants called?
baby ants will be larvae, pupae, just like your butterflies. Okay, they undergo metamorphosis,
Have like that no.
eggs, larvae, pupae, and then a complete ant. So is it only the queen ants that lay eggs, or do other female ants also lay eggs? Mostly it is 99%. It's only the queen ants that lays fertile eggs. But if other worker ants do lay eggs, it will be sterile eggs or trophic eggs, food eggs. Okay, that's what we call. But it's usually polished. For example, if a worker ant tries to lay an egg, other ants will prevent because they want to have a discipline. It's only the egg queen lays eggs. Okay, years taken to hatch an egg. It would be about 3 weeks. Can queen ants fly? That's
Sir,
true. Queen ants can fly.
sir,
I will take your question. Please put it on the chat. Okay.
Wh-
Kids, just intervene, Sunil. Kids, please hold on to yourself. The questions, you may put it on the chat box as the speaker Sunil is saying. And if you finish up the chat box questions, you will definitely take our questions,
Yeah.
direct questions. Let the speaker finish off with the chat questions,
Okay.
and we'll proceed with the regular questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, can queen ants fly? So, before the queen ants mate, they all have wings and they can fly. But once they mate, what they do is they drop
Hello.
the wings. The wings are then eaten by the queen ant. She eats her own wings. Then, when she starts laying eggs, she doesn't have any wings. So, what during monsoon when there is pre-monsoon showers, especially in April, May, when the rain supposed to come, you'll see that a lot of insects which come around the tube light, or if there are street lights, you'll see a lot of ants with wings that they're flying around that light, right, light bulb. So these are usually the queen ants and the males. The queen ants, when they are not mated, and the males will have wings.
God.
Okay. The next question is: does every ant leave different scent or same? Every ant in a single colony will leave the same scent, but for each species, it will be a different scent. Okay. So, for example, if it's a fan ant, it will have its own scent trail. The scent will be different. For example, if it's a odor ant that you find in your house, which is called in your house ವಾಸನೆ ಇರುವೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಊಸ್ ಇರುವೆ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ವಾಸನೆನೇ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಸೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. And again, the scent is different for different tasks. For example, if an ant, if it's wants to leave a scent, if it's alarmed, for example, if it's a threat of an attack, the scent is different. But if it's trying to recruit its sisters for food, the scent is different. So for each purpose, it actually does a little bit of mixture, chemical mixture, which is different. Okay, and for different ants, it's different. Okay, and what happens when the queen dies? That's a very, very interesting question. So if the queen dies, most of the time the colony dies. Okay, it's very, very difficult for a worker ant to become the queen. It happens in some species only, but again the worker ant has to now develop ovaries. Then it has to mate, and then it has to now lay eggs. Otherwise, because the queen is the only egg laying machine, once she dies, there are no more workers which are coming out. There are no baby ants coming out. So the colony will die. Okay. So what are pharaoh ants? Pharaoh ants are again ants which are found in your homes, which those small red ants which actually um, come and eat away the sugar or the sweets if you're kept in your homes. Okay, those are called as pharaoh ants. And then where are weaver ants found? Weaver ants are the most common ants across India. Indian weaver ants. If you have a mango tree, pongamia tree in your garden or in the park or in the forest, jackfruit tree, you find these ants which are called as kenjiga in Kannada. Okay, and the most interesting thing about these ants are, as I said, they make nests out of leaves, and these ants are also eaten by people as well. So in various parts of Karnataka, even in Dakshin Kannada, there are people who make it into a chutney. So because weaver ants have formic acid at the end of their abdomen, so when many of these weaver ants are collected and crushed, it gives a very tangy feeling. Okay, and in parts of Bihar, Orissa, they are actually sold in the market. Okay, so you can go and buy weaver ants, and then you can use it. They also fry and eat it. Okay, and
Sir,
then
I have a doubt.
1 minute, last question. Okay, and then I'll come to you. You can put it on the chat. Okay, please put it on the chat. Can all ants fly? No, it's only the queen ants and the male ants who can fly. Okay, so the worker
Okay,
ants can't
sir.
fly. Okay, and then can you post your questions on the chat, please, so that we can have an order. Okay, so there are okay. We are running out of time, so I will be able to take two
Hello,
questions.
sir.
Two questions only. So I think this was an interesting conversation. Please, can you ask a question?
Sir, do ants release formic acid?
Sir, why does a male ant die after mating?
So it does not have a well-developed digestive system. Okay, so they are programmed to live for a couple of weeks. So once that's done, after they mate, since they don't have food reserves, they will naturally die. Okay, so you asked how are queen ants born and queen ants selected. These are two very interesting questions. This will be the last question I'll take. I will tell you both. I mean, answer both the
Sir,
questions. The most
sir,
interesting.
like queen makes groups like worker ants, soldier ants, and a male or females.
Sorry, I'll answer this question and come back. Okay, so our queen ants born. Okay, this is very interesting, and our queen ants selected. So what happens is once when the once within a colony, there's a queen. There are already workers. There are already the population in the nest is going up. What the queen ants do is then she will release a fertile egg, okay, or a diploid eggs, which has both X and Y chromosomes. And when
I can't
those
hear
eggs
you
are laid,
properly.
she
I can't hear you properly.
the queen decides to lay queen and egg, okay. So these are special eggs that she lays, and some of these these queen eggs which actually hatch will, in some ants also, they get some special food as well, nutrition, and that's why they develop into queens. And it's it's the prerogative of the queen to lay when it wants these kind of eggs. Okay, so I think we have now. I'm closing because I think many people are eager for the quiz, and once the quiz is over, we can still take up some questions if there's time. Okay, so people are mostly eager to answer questions now, and and the last slide of mine, add my email ID. If you still have many questions, you can still send a question to my email ID and I will answer it. Okay, I will type my email ID. Okay.
Thank you.
The chat box.
Quiz.
Okay, Sunil, for taking a detailed session. Actually, the kids participating in this meeting have lot of many
Now we are going to
questions
start the
maybe
quiz in another 2 minutes.
unanswered. Yeah, unanswered questions
George
may be
is
there.
going to take out to the quiz.
Yeah, George, just let me 2 minutes. That question, the quiz session will start. The unanswered questions definitely will be answered. You'll be put on the direct mail to him, or you can again go back to the same presentation that will be in the YouTube channel and also Facebook of the Forest Department. That also will clarify many of the doubts. Further, he has written a book on ants itself, and many can get it from the markets and also go through the book. That's again get more answers there also. Now I will proceed to the next session of our webinar, that is a quiz. Most kids are waiting for this session. So let's start. Mr. George to take over.
Let's start.
You can carry on. Yeah.
Anybody is there?
Prashant, please mute yourself.
Quiz.
Hello.
Yeah, George, carry on.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah, you can carry on. Yeah.
Can you see the first slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Let us start a quiz. Yeah, just before we start the quiz, let me tell you the rules and regulation for this quiz online quiz program. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. So the rules for the online quiz as follows. You have to answer, give the answer only in the chat box. So if you shout your answer, that is not eligible. Only in the chat box you need to give the answer. There will be a total of 15 questions. It can be a one word question, or it may be a visual round also. After I put the question, you will get 30 seconds to answer the question. You have to type your answer in the chat box only. Okay. Whoever answer correctly, the fastest, will be declared winner. Understand? Any doubts on this?
No, sir.
Okay. So repeat again. I put the questions. You need to give the answer only in the chat box. Whoever answers it correctly in the chat box correctly, he will be declared winner. Immediately after declaring the person as winner, I will be asking them to give their full name. We will announce who got the answer correctly, and you will have to give your full name. That is for the certificate, and email ID and your phone numbers. Okay, it's very simple. So let's come to the question. So you are not supposed to answer, only give your answer in the chat box. So here comes the first one. What is the number of species recorded in India? In India, you have to type your answer in the. You have to give the exact number. I see a lot of answers coming. I'll wait for 30 seconds. Okay, let us see the answer. The correct answer is 846. These are the number of species which is found in India. But there are, like as Mr. Sunil, our speaker, had earlier told, there are 12,000 known species worldwide. But in India, 846 species have been recorded, of which 323 are very much endemic to India. And there are a record of 257 species of ant recorded in Karnataka alone. So the total number of the question was, what is the number of species recorded in India? The answer is 846. So the correct answer was given by Nishil. Nishil, please share your email ID, phone number, and full name. Okay, we'll move on. How many groups are ants classified into? Like, how many groups are ants classified into? Groups. I see a lot of, you have all of you are experts in fastest finger. Lot of correct answers, lot of big answers also coming. Okay, let us move on. There are 4 groups. Most of the ants are classified or grouped on the basis of peculiar tasks performed by them. The major groups are harvester ants, beaver ants, leaf cutter ants, and army ants. Okay, the correct answer is 4. Let us see who's answered it first. Let's see. Again, Nishil has answered it correctly. Congratulations, Nishil. Followed by Tanish. You just missed the point. By microseconds, you missed your answer. So the task is to type fastest, and we should get the answer at fastest. Okay. So we will move on. Identify these ant species. If all of you are carefully see the previous presentation, this is very easy to identify. Identify this species. I see a lot of answers coming in: fire ant, queen ant, queen. You have to tell the species, not whether it is queen or worker. You need to say the name of the species. Okay, let's see the answer. Yes, the answer is fire ant. Lot of almost 75% of the people have said it is fire ant. And yeah, fire ants, as Mr. Sunil had previously said, they are commonly found in and around in our country also. They are typically reddish or brownish in color. So these ants are omnivorous, feeding mostly on young plants and seeds. However, they can also attack and live prey. All fire ant species can sting, and those stings produce very considerable amount of pain. That's why it is, you feel like you're in a fire. That's why it is called fire ant. And the fastest person to answer is Sunil Kumar Dage has answered it correctly. Congrats, Vital. Please, you may please share your email ID, phone number, please. Thank you. What is the study of ants called? If I don't know if all of you have observed the first slide where Mr. Sunil Kumar's photo also was there. This was there actually. So, what is the study of ants called? Anthropology. I see a lot of answers. Anatomy, microbiology. Yeah, let us see the answer. Myrmecology is the correct answer. The word myrmics means ant, logos means study. It is a branch of entomology focusing on scientific study of ants. Okay, the correct answer is myrmecology. And let us see who's answered it first. Okay, Vittal Kumar Dage has answered it correctly. Congrats, Vittal. That's a good, very good going. So we have competition between Nishil and Vittal Kumar with 2 points each. Let us see. We'll move on. Identify this species, ant species. Okay, it's a video. Yeah, just wait. Just loading. Okay, I'll just play the video again.
See the video.
You have to identify the species.
Blocking everything.
It's not coming.
No, sir, I can't see it.
Sir, I cannot see anything.
Sir, it's fully black.
See it, sir. So there is some type of thing which is covering the whole video.
Okay, no problem. So we will move on.
I request you people to wait for 1 minute. We'll share it from other system. Just a moment.
Hello. Sorry for the small glitch there. Hello. Can everyone hear?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry for the small technical glitch there. So we will move on. Yeah. The next question is, which ant makes the nest like this? Which ant makes the nest like this? So we'll move on to the answer. Yes, the answer is fort ant. As the previous speaker had said, fort ant makes the nest like this, like a fort. The nest is flanked by a raised series of concentric clay rings, as though to prevent flooding. So these are the ants. Fort ants makes this kind of very concentric clay rings, which looks like a fort. And the fastest answer was given by Vittal Kumar. Vittal Kumar is leading now with 3 points, followed by Nishil. Well done, Vittal. So we will move on. On an average, how many times its own body weight ant can lift? On an average, how many times its own body weight an ant can lift? Okay, let's see the answer. Yeah, 10 to 50 times. Whoever is answered 50, I'll give it to them. The ants can lift so much body weight. The ratio between their body size and body mass, their small size means they have a large body mass, and the proportion of their mass, that is muscle, is very high. Hence, they are able to lift very high weights. So the answer is 10 to 50 times their body weight. And the correct answer was given by Nishil. Has given the correct answer. Congrats, Nishil. I think Nishil has caught up with Mr. Vittal Kumar. Please share your email ID as requested earlier. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What are these ants commonly called? Sorry for the poor quality of picture. I see a lot of answers: garden ants, black ants, leaf ants. Let's see the answer. These are called procession ants. As I shared earlier by the resource person, these are called procession ants. Mainly, they move in a straight line or in a group, like a march fast. They move to bring in food from the particular food source through order trail. Whenever the nest is damaged or when the food is not available, they move from one place to another to find another nest. So these are called procession ants. And may I know who's the Vittal Kumar has, come on kids, others also please type in fast. Only Vittal and Nishil seems to be doing it very fast. I request all the kids to type their answer fast and get the points. Answers are all correct, but the fastest correct answer will be declared winner. Okay. Fire ants are also called as what? Fire ants are also called as what? Red ants. A lot of ants are getting red ants, red ants, red ants, beaver ants. Okay, let us see the correct answer. Fire ants are also called as stinging ants. Okay, though it is red in color, but it is we are looking for an answer called stinging ants because of the sting which are very painful with a local burning sensation. So it can really become a big issue if there is multiple stings which is happening. Okay, the correct answer was given by Sohum Saple. Come on, good. Only 2 people have given it correct. Sohum Saple has given correct answer. First, Sohum, please share your email ID and telephone number and full name, please. Congrats, Sohum. Let's move on. Which ants captures broods of other ant species to increase the workforce of their colony? I repeat, which ants captures broods of their other ant species to increase the worker force of their colony? Lot of correct answers I'm getting. Okay, let's see the answer. Yes, the correct answer is slave making ants. Slave making ants are specialized to sparatize single species or a group of species which are very close to them. These ants, as the speaker said, take the broods and get it into their own colony so that they start working when the brood hatch. They start working for the colony. The correct answer was given by
Shivani.
Shivani. Shivani Perumpillai has answered it correctly. Congrats, Shivani. Please share your email ID, phone number, and full name. Thank you. At this point of time, the leader, Vittal Kumar Dage, is leading with 3 points, and Nishil with
4, 3.
Okay, sorry. Vittal Kumar is leading with 4 points. Nishil with 3 points, and a couple of people, Shivani and Saple, has made with 1 points each. Which ant makes nest by stitching leaves together into a ball? Very simple. Lot of correct answers. Well done. Okay, let us see the answer. This was a very easy one. The correct answer is weaver ants. As you can see in the picture itself, it weaves leaves into a ball kind of nest, and they can in a tree in Bangalore only. You can see a lot of these weaver ants in honge trees, other mango trees, and other trees where you can see this weaver ant, which is very common. Weaver ants are very territorial and very aggressive when an intruder come there. So the correct answer was given by Jay Sharma has answered correctly. Congrats, Jay Sharma. You may please share your email ID and phone number, please. Thank you. Next question. Which is the longest living ant? This is little out of this thing, but you need to tell which is the longest living ant. How many years can they live, or your approximate guess? You should name the name of the ant. Which is the longest living ant? Queen. No, I'm not asking about queen or worker, but I need to know the name of the ant. Godzilla ant, queen. Let us see the answer. Can you see the answer? Yeah. Queen was the correct answer. The correct answer is queen ant, Lasius niger. That was the answer which I wanted. Lasius niger is the longest living ant which was recorded. It lived for 28 years and 9 months in captivity. So that's why they were able to record its age. And the correct answer is Lasius niger, which has been recorded as the longest living ant till date.
Shivali SK.
Shivali SK has answered it correctly. And very few people have, many people have said queen, but I wanted the correct answer as Lasius niger. Congrats, Shivali. Please type in your full name, email ID, and phone number, please. Okay. Which is the smallest ant? Ants are itself very small, but we want to know which is the smallest of smallest ant. Black ants, arrow ant, fire ants, possession ants, odor ant, fire ant. Let's see if anybody has got it correctly. Has anybody got it correctly? Let's see the answer. The answer is thief ants. They are one of the smallest living creatures, you can say, in ant family. They measure from 0.7 to 22 mm long. Color is, as you can see, it is from the picture how it is being compared to a pen nib. It is very small ant, measuring from 0.7 to 22 mm long. Thief ants. Who is the winner? Who is
KR. That's it. Huh? KR.
Somebody by name KR has given it correctly. Congrats, KR. We need to give your full name.
KR Ranjan SK, sir.
You're logged in as KR. Please give your full name and email ID. But well done, KR, because nobody has answered it correctly except you. So very few people have answered. So you are first to answer it correctly. So congrats, KR. You may give your name to the correct full name. You can't type in your name as KR because you won't be able to issue your certificate. Okay, thank you. So let's move on. Which is the largest ant in the world? Now we came to the smallest ant. Now let's go to the largest ant in the world. You need to give the name of the ant. Okay, let's move on. Dinopnara is the answer. Anybody has given this? They are known to measure between 3 to 4 centimeters in length, and they are found in humid forest and Atlantic forest of northeastern Brazil. So it's not found in India, but it is found in the Brazilian forest, northeastern Brazilian forest. Okay. Who is given the correct answer?
Anita.
Anita A has given it correctly. Anita, congrats. Anita, congrats. Please share your full name, email ID, and phone number. Okay. Now coming to the most venomous ant in the world. You know, most of us are aware that ant bites are not good, but there is also some ants which are very, very venomous. Which is the most venomous ant in the world? Okay, let's see the answer. The most venomous ant is called the bulldog ant or the inch ant, which is commonly found in Australia, the east coast of Australia, east coastal districts of the states of Australia. It is also by the Guinness. It is listed as the world's most dangerous ant by the Guinness Book of World Record. Myrmecologists piriformis. That's the ant zoological name. Bulldog ant or the inch ant. It attacks using both its sting and jaws simultaneously. So it's very, very ferocious. And there are also incidents of fatalities since 1936. The last one was recorded in 1988 when a Victorian state farmer was attacked by this ant in large numbers, and he succumbed to a bite. So the correct answer is bulldog ant or the inch ant. Who's answered it correctly?
Shivani.
Sir?
Shivani again has answered it correctly. Congrats, Shivani. That's great going.
Very few answered.
Very few have answered, and Shivani got it right. Bulldog ant or the inch ant is the correct answer. So, with this, we come to the end of the ant quiz. I hope you all enjoyed this quiz. One small message. You see this picture, it's wonderfully written. If you want to have a proverb on the ant, this is the picture which comes out very strongly in the internet. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider it ways and be wise. Meaning, like, there are a lot of things one need to learn from ants. And when you look ants closely in nature, we'll observe how systematic or how robust their way of life is. So we need to learn as human beings. We need to learn so that there is law and order in our society. Thank you, one and all. Please, we will just give me 2 minutes. We will declare the winner and the first and second and third prize. Shivali. Okay, we got the Shivani. So we got the winners. The first prize goes to Mr. Vittal Kumar. You can all of them give us. Followed by Nishil George. And third prize goes to Shivani. Shivani. Okay, there is a small correction. Okay. I've been told that Miss Niranjana has answered it correctly using Vittal Kumar's ID. So the winner is Niranjana Dage. First prize, second prize goes to Nishil George, and third prize goes to Shivani. Congrats, all of you. I hope you all like the quiz. And it's a small quiz. This is what we can do with the time given. So we hope we'll be continuing to do this kind of programs in the coming same time on a different topic. So keep yourself updated with the connections. With this, we come to the end of the quiz program. Now I hand over to organizers for the next set of events. Thank you.
Thank you, George, for the entertaining quiz session. And now, if you have any quick questions, Santosh.
It has been a wonderful quiz. And may I hand over to Mr. Nitesh?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. George, for entertaining quiz session, and quiz were very on the toes to participate in the quiz, and many people got the right answers, but the person who got the fastest fingers got the prize and went away with the prize. But everyone who participated is really a winner, because knowing things more important than getting the prizes. If you are aware of the things that what is happening around us, as we learned in the session, entire day, entire 1 hour, 1.5 hour session, the ants, even though very small in size, they have a big role to play in the ecosystem, and they can have, as you know that such a small creature can lift a weight more than 10 to 50 times of its own weight. So, and the discipline that they follow, and the contributions they do for the environment and ecosystem is very great. As human being, we need to learn many things from the ants, and protection of these small creatures definitely will have an impact on the ecosystem. And I thank one and all for participating actively in this session, and George especially for making it so entertaining, and all the CE partners who have been actively working on this quiz for bringing good questions and keeping this session alive. And my special thanks to the speaker of the day, Mr. Sunil, and the keynote address was delivered by our additional PCC of Malkhede sir, many senior officers, Madhu Sharma madam, Seema Garg madam, and many other senior officers of the department, and outside also people have participated. I thank one and all, and I thank the CE partners who are hosting this one. I would like to thank the ICT wing of the Forest Department who have put it on the YouTube live, and apart from the people who are participating here on the WebEx, and many more people participated live on the YouTube session, and all the presentation that happened today are also will be available on the departmental website. And please, if you missed out any points, you can take it from there also. And for the information of the kids who have participated will in this quiz and in this session will get a participation certificate duly signed by the PCCF Wildlife of the state. And thank you one and all. And next week also, until I think 7th of October, every week exactly at the 4:30 we'll be joining for the webinar on different issues, and making it interesting. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll end this.
Yeah.